Yo, what is good, everyone? Welcome back to Big Apple Banter Media. What's good? What's good? We're just doing a little Sunday night hangout stream. Maybe I'll take callers depending on the viewership. I don't expect it to be much just because I haven't really posted in a while. But hop in. I want to get the chat popping tonight. Get some good questions in there. I have a few topics I want to go over. But yeah, if we have people, maybe I'll do call-ins in a bit. We'll see. But no one's in here yet. I'll wait for a few people to get in here, and then we'll get it started. All right, so Mets roster being cut down to 28 coming up. A few things on my mind. I know this is such a just like random time to stream and whatnot, but I had a few thoughts on my mind that I wanted to discuss. Um, so let's get into that. So Mets roster goes down to 28. No, from 28. Shit, what is it again? Hold up. MLB rosters 8. Oh no, it goes from 28 to 26. I misspoke. 28 to 26. And we talked about this on Mets Weekly the other day. But I want to go in a little more detail about this because there's a few guys on my mind. Obviously, the obvious one, Sean Reed Foley. He sucks. He's a walking walk, if you want to call him that. But I feel like when Sean Reed Foley comes in the game, it's just like you're punting on the game. If you have a huge lead, then put him in. But if you're losing a game and Sean Reed Foley comes in, just know you gave up pretty much because he's not good. Joe K, what up, my man? LFGM, that's right. We on top, baby. What are we now? 12-5. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I missed a lot of this series, unfortunately. Just shitty timing, I guess. It's 162 game season. I can't make every game. Mets Weekly, other Mets Weekly guys watch like every freaking game. I try to, but sometimes stuff gets in the way and whatnot. Um, so I don't have too many takeaways from the series, but this is more overall. Reed Foley sucks, and then in my opinion, maybe Trevor Williams goes. I've not been impressed by him. I know Carson likes him and whatnot, but not crazy about him. But I think I would rather have a position player go than two pitchers going. So for me, it's between JD, Dom, and Cano. JD or Dom, you'd probably try and trade him. I think out of those three guys, Dom is probably the best guy to stay just because he is your backup first baseman. And he does that well. He plays defense well and has been a decent hitter at times. But I used to like Dom and whatnot. I don't really care about him anymore. Am I pissed we didn't do that Eric Hosmer trade? No, I don't want Eric Hosmer. I don't want Chris Paddock, who ended up getting traded somewhere else. I don't care that we didn't make that deal, but Dom Smith, every year it seems like I've been making excuses for this guy. I'll admit I have too. Injury, sleep apnea. I don't care anymore. He's not that good. Another first round pick that really didn't turn into much, which, the Mets have a decent first round draft history, I'd say. I mean, Crow Armstrong, of course, went in the Chicago deal. That actually brought us Trevor Williams and Javi Baez. Which, by the way, thankfully, I don't see this much, but Javi Baez, I don't know where I'm going here, but Javi Baez, I mean, he's playing well in Detroit. Good for him. Am I pissed we didn't bring him back? No, not really. I don't really get mad at the team for not re-signing a guy or something when it's literally their choice whether they want to come back. This isn't the NFL where, there's franchise tags and all this shit where, you can make it make the players designed to stay on the team for a long time. It's not like that in the MLB. I mean, Bryce Harper is not a national anymore. Manny Machado's not an Oriole anymore. These were some of the best players in the league a few years ago. Lindor is not a Guardian anymore. I caught myself there. So I don't think getting mad at a team for not re-signing players like with Zach Wheeler, people, oh man, we didn't get Zach Wheeler. I mean, the dude was a complete project when the time before he signed with Philly. I mean, he was not the player he is now. I don't get shitting on guys like that. So with Baez, like looking back at that trade, is it great? No, not really. Baez gave us some good time. He's in Detroit now. Good for him. He's a shortstop. Like, you're gonna have to pay him like a shortstop to pay second base, and you already had a good second baseman in Jeff McNeil, who's having a really good year this year. Not really good. I'd say it's having a pretty good year. It's looking more like himself, which is awesome. What's up, guys? What's up, chat? How we doing? Uh, Then who we had? Brett Beatty. Brett Beatty was pretty decent. I mean, he hasn't played yet, but he's been a great prospect. I think he's top 50, so that's a really good pick prospect wise. Who was before that? Was Kelnick before that? I mean, great pick. I know he hasn't been doing much, but um, I mean, I hate the argument that, oh well, Kelnick might not pan out, so it looks like we won this trade. Well, no, you still took on Robinson Cano's awful contract. Edwin Diaz I like, but he blows games in like the worst possible time and points at the sky. I know everyone blows games at the worst possible time, but not everyone points at the sky when they do that. He needs to stop doing that, man. My goodness. Um, so yeah, what other first round? I mean, Rosario wasn't a first round pick. I just hate the argument that every prospect is a guarantee. Like, oh, we got Francisco Alvarez, so we can't sign a catcher, or Brett Beatty or Mark Vientos. Like, how many first overall prospects or first round picks and stuff just totally bust. Like Ahmed Rosario bust, Dom Smith bust. Like in my mind, when you take up guys in a first round, you expect them to be legitimate starters, not just decent role players. So I don't get too caught up in that stuff, but uh what's good? Trevor Canada, what's up with your Mets? Why are you guys winning games? This isn't normal. It is now, baby. Let's go Mets. New regime, new everything. Will Stench is gone. Speaking of Steve Cohen, here's his number one fan. Mets talk with Hayden. How we doing, brother? Good to see you. That's another thing. Like I could make a whole hour long thing of pet peeves with different sport fans. Like I said in baseball, I blaming teams for not re-signing guys. I hate that argument because literally the ball is in their court. This guy does this a lot, blaming the owner for moves. The owner makes a whole lot uh, less of a difference than you guys think. He funds the team. He's not making these moves and whatnot. Same thing with the manager, man. I saw a post on Instagram today being like, well, what have we seen that makes Buck Showalter, that we know Buck Showalter is a great manager? Yada, yada, yada. Like, at the end of the day, like, manager does so little compared to how it used to be. Like, your job is literally win games, and he's been doing great at that. Yeah, do I disagree with some of his moves? Yeah, I don't like his bench management. His bullpen can be a little questionable sometimes, but is that fully his decision? It's backed up by a lot of data and stuff. So, thoughts on Tyler Mcgill? Mcgill's been awesome, man. I mean, coming into this year, I was skeptical. I'm the type of guy who I always like to have a backup plan when it comes to team building and stuff. Like I said earlier, relying on prospects to be these absolute stud players is always a bit of risky business. Like it's worked out for us with, Dom Smith. I mean, not Pete Alonso making him the opening day, but he proved it at spring training major league level. So like Tyler Mcgill had success last year and then kind of fell off. So I wasn't all about him being like a guaranteed rotation, but I was definitely excited to possibly see him. Obviously, it sucks. Jake got hurt. Ty got hurt. But McGill's been awesome, man. I mean, he's a long-term building block for this team, in my opinion. So, um, yeah, I've been really pleased with what I've seen with him so far. If he's the three of the future, pretty much. I mean, you got DeGrom and Scherzer for the next 3 years. Scherzer is here. DeGrom, you need to re-sign him this offseason. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to do the opt-out. Even though he did get hurt, he's expressed that he's keeping that opt-out. And then, yeah, Bassett's free agent. Definitely re-sign him. Krask's a free agent. Walker. So, I mean, there's guys, but, um, what am I saying? But we don't really have much in the farm wise of starting pitchers and whatnot. We have Matt Allen, who's years away. He's coming off an injury. Back to the 28-man roster discussion. Dom Smith, I said I think is safe. JD Davis, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade him. We talked about this on Mets Weekly. No role. He's not good off the bench. He can hit, and he's not doing that this year. And he can't play the field. He can't run. My goodness, he cannot play the field. I know, he kills Patrick Corbin. I think that's all he does. I think it's time for the Mets to move on. I forget he's on the team sometimes. Robinson Cano, they should release him. I don't care about how much money he gets owed. In my opinion, I've always said this. That's not how you build a culture, by rewarding guys with huge I mean, he's going to keep the money, but giving the guy so many playing time who's a cheater. He's been caught twice with steroids. They talk about how he's this great leader and all this shit. He plays like he doesn't give a shit on the field. I know he's like always been that like serious, smooth guy on the field, but when you watch him, it's like, does this guy care? This guy, he looks like he's going to fall asleep when he plays. So, Mets desperately, at least next year, trade deadline too. it's ways away. Are going to need to acquire one more bat, just to be kind of that DH. I like the idea of cycling guys in, so I wouldn't want just an only DH. Like the Nelson Cruzes of the world who cannot play the field, can only DH. Liam, let's go Mets. That's right. That's right. You keep putting questions in the chat because I've kind of talked about what I need to talk about. Also, I don't know if there's if you guys any football stuff with draft coming up. I'm down to talk about that. All right. The Mets can clear a roster spot. They put him on the 60-day IL, inability to move his ass. I would release him at that point. He's still getting paid if he's on the 60 man. I understand it, but just DFA him. He'll clear waivers, free agent. Here's your money. He's not going to retire. How stupid would you be to just leave all that money on the table? But yeah, Cano, he's been terrible this year. I knew it was going to happen. He got traded over here. We gave up Kalnick, Justin Dunn, who is in Cincinnati now. They traded. He was like a main piece in the Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez trade. We traded those guys, a few other guys. We had like Jay Bruce. We dumped his contract. Anthony Swarzak, he was terrible. Okay, it was a joke. Yeah, people have brought it up. I mean, it's not a legitimate. There's a legitimate discussion to it of just putting him on the. Have you guys ever heard of the Phantom DL or Phantom IL? Shout out Matt Antonelli. He was a former like minor leaguer, had a cup of coffee in the major leagues. He does like coaching stuff on YouTube, which isn't really my thing, but he does like videos about his experience in the major leagues, minor leagues, and stuff like that. And he talked about how he got put on the Phantom DL when you're not hurt, but they need to clear up a roster spot, but they want to keep you around. That's that. I don't think that really exists in the major leagues necessarily. Honestly, like maybe keep Cano on the roster and just pay him. Don't play him, but that's just wasting a roster spot. You're gonna have to pay him regardless. There's no like Cespedes forcing a restructure or something. I don't want to defer years in the future. I would just get this mess over with. If anyways, I'd front load it if you could do a restructure. Cano, fucking awful trade. I mean, Diaz is like, he's been okay, but he's been not a elite guy. I know how many fans want to tell me he's a top 3 reliever and whatnot. Cerise, what's good, dude? How we doing? Should JD Davis begin playing more playing time? I think over Cano, yes. Dom, maybe not. I think he should be traded though. He's a one-trick pony. He's a DH who isn't hitting this year. So like that's not roster value. Like having a one-trick pony, like 3 DHs on a roster. So like, should he be given more playing time? Yeah, probably. I'd prefer seeing him over Robinson Cano. Him and Dom are pretty equal for me. Like I think they both suck, or both high potential, flashed and whatnot, are just not playing well this year. And obviously, it's just the start of the year. There's plenty of players that don't play well and turn to studs by the end of the year. So, if he isn't, I think he should be traded. But if he's not, if you're gonna insist on keeping him, then I think you should release Cano, and then JD should get the playing time from there. But no, I wouldn't. I would, but it's not like DH is a big hole in the Mets right now, or just another big bat in the roster. I mean, we're playing great. There's not a whole lot to complain about, but that's something you can complain about. The bench sucks too. I mean, Guillorme is not that good. Fans hype him up. He's the beard and all this shit. He can play the field pretty well in a couple different positions. He's not hitting this year, and he's a super low ceiling player. Like he can hit for some average. Hits 1 home run every freaking blue moon in the weirdest time possible, except that clutch home run. Then you got either McCann or Nito, whoever's backing up. They both suck. Nito's nice offensively. He's a good backup. McCann is terrible. I know he had a big home run. I know his framing numbers are up this year. He sucks. I don't care what anyone says. Janikowski's been a fine surprise, but as your 4th outfielder, you could do better than that. Who else? Obviously, Conforto's not coming back. When that dude got fucked over. But honestly, I don't feel bad for him because, you give him $100 million offer. No, I think I'm a $200 million player, which is a joke. The fact $100 million. Looking back then, I was probably kind of on board with it because he had a great 2020. But Conforto ain't that player, man. I mean, Conforto is a very good, at best, very good right fielder. He's not an elite. He's a borderline all-star. And this dude's looking at for $200 million. Doesn't take that. Then the Mets give him a qualifying offer $18 million for a 1-year deal coming off a shit year for the opportunity to make money the next year. Nope, doesn't take that. So I feel bad he got hurt. I don't really feel bad for him in the sense of, oh, you could have had all this money and whatnot. I mean, he's still a millionaire. Like, I don't feel bad for players really missing out on money unless you're like it's your like first 2 years and you have some career-ending injury or something. Uh, all our DHs are a disaster. I mean, yeah, you're damn right. Dom Smith, JD Davis, Ramos Cano. The job of the DH is to hit. None of them are hitting. Cano is the poster child of the last reminiscence of the Brody Wilpon era. Pretty right about that. I mean, it's that, and every time Edwin Diaz blows the game. I mean, who else? Who else do they have from that era? Like they've done a decent job cleaning out. Obviously, they got rid of Pete Core Armstrong as like the first round pick. I think it's likely. Yeah, I think it's a Boris influence. I think people credit Boris for being the great agent that he is, which he's phenomenal. But he when the whole thing of waiting out till free agency, no matter what, like most of those guys don't sign in team extensions. It's risky for this reason. I mean, $100 million for a pretty good. Here we go. All right, he was. if you know, you know. He was worth 175 to 200 million going into 21, and then his stock plummeted to the ground. Was he worth? I mean, it's okay if you give him like 8 years or something, he's worth that much, which that's a long-term contract. I never thought liked Conforto before 2021. I never thought he was this great player that I also said this on Mets Weekly, which people thought it was crazy. Ask a non-Mets fan or like a non-National League East fan, say, would you pay if you have a big hole in right field? Would you pay $200 million for Michael Conforto? And probably say, who's Michael Conforto? All right. I think Daniel Palka has been mashing in AAA. Would you DFA Janikowski and bring up Palka? No, I'm not DFAing Janikowski. He's been a good defensive player, nice scrappy player. Palka, I know he played for the Nationals organization. I live up here in Rochester, which Red Wings is our AAA team. Washington Nationals. I've actually seen him play a few times. Big dude, hits home runs, but I don't think you DFA Janikowski. I think you bring him up if you're getting rid of either Dom or Cano. Carson, no, he wasn't. 8 for 200 was his benchmark projection. You hater. Says who? Some silly numbers website. Fangraphs, I think, is someone who does that. I don't know. For me, it's like you got to look at, if I don't take that much stock in a fan base hyping up one of their own guys, just ask someone else a fan from a different team. Hey, what are your thoughts on Michael Conforto? Would you pay him $200 million coming off 2020 is a great season. It's a great 60-game stretch. Dom Smith was like an MVP candidate that year. And look where he's at now. I mean, he was disaster the next year and it's not been good so far. He was going to get traded. And then Uber was close to getting traded. So, yeah. So like, 8 for 200. What's that average annual value? Like isn't that what Chris Bryant makes? And Chris Bryant might not be the greatest player, 25 a year. He's not this elite player. He's not really an MVP, but also baseball, it's a business, man. I mean, you're going to have, star factor and popularity and stuff with an owner and stuff or how do I describe that? That's going to be a factor. I mean, if Bryce Harper, if he's such a big name that from not only just he's an elite player, he's top 10 player, but he has that star factor as well that an owner would want to pay a guy $200 million for. Spot check fan. Over the cap is baseball? I didn't know that. I thought they were just like football cap. All right. Unfortunately, when your agent is Boris, you have to play by Boris rules going to free agency. Yeah, I mean that's your agent. That's still your choice though. There's so many agents out there. There's plenty of options out there. But it seems like it's a pretty big honor to be represented by Scott Boras. Like he doesn't really have any bad players that he represents. He's obviously going back to A-Rod. The dude has a good business, but if that's your motto, it's a risk. I mean, just as much as signing a extension early and risking out on losing a bunch of money. I mean, look what Ozzy Albies has what is he, 6 for 35 or something even crazy like that. He's getting paid nothing for a player his caliber. Bingo Joe. No, again, like a website can project the guy to be making a shit ton of money if you know, I got to see it first. Like if he's going to get that contract. I mean, it's a shame he can't play this year. Maybe the Mets bring him back as a fourth outfielder next year. I mean, his value is pretty low. Oh, do I do it? Do I drop the link? Shit, I think I will. If you guys keep going with the chat though, that's much appreciated. But shit, my Siri's on. Probably didn't hear what I just said. All right, let's let's drop the link. Let's it should get interesting. It's been a while, man. I mean, I don't get a whole lot of time to do this kind of stuff. So, all right. The reality is, Conforto didn't do himself any favors in 2021. It's a trending market, and Boris was trying to upsell a whole career. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. But yeah, Conforto was terrible that year, and he's somewhat replaceable. I mean, right field's a loaded position in the MLB, and look who's better. Mark Canha's a better player. Starling Marte's a better player, and Brandon Nimmo's a better player. And that's your three outfielders. Shit, Travis Kanek. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna go that far. Been a while, LGM. Yes, sir. I'm happy to be back. All right, let's do it. Throwback to old times. Let's bring the chaos. Reese, what's going on, man?
How you doing? Not much, honestly.
Doing good, man. How about you?
I don't know, not much to be honest. I haven't been catching as many games as I wish.
Nah, me neither. It's been work and shit and school and stuff. And
Yeah,
but no, when I do, they've won a lot of the games I've watched. So that's good.
they're a lot. I think they're a lot better than last year, even on
Oh,
paper.
easily, dude. I know we started out with a great record last year, but they weren't hitting this well. Like not anywhere close. Like the offense sucked.
The record wasn't even this good.
No, it wasn't. And they were first place, and the rest of the division was shit. And then, division rival ended up winning the World Series. That's besides the point. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't. That's not happening again. I don't think the Braves are that good of a team, to be honest. And I don't even think they were that good last year. They kind of just got really hot at the right time.
They did get hot. I mean, yeah, same thing in the National Sphere. I think they were a good team, but I don't think like on paper, but you got a World Series. That's all that matters. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the best team, most All-Stars award when it's it's the team that won the World Series. So
yeah, I mean, but like
I get what you're saying though.
I kind of think they're like better this year than last year, but at the same time, like if you
well,
really
they had
look at the
they had like
roster,
two different versions of their team. They had the pre-deadline with Acuna.
and the pre-deadline team was a lot better than the one that won the World Series. It's just they all at the perfect time just got hot. It didn't make any sense. It really didn't make any sense.
Rosario, Soler all got hot, like crazy hot streaks in the right time.
They should have kept Soler. I don't know why they kept Rosario.
They should have, yeah. I mean, they should have kept Freddie Freeman first of all.
I mean, I think
it's a better the better long-term pick to put to get Matt Olson
and short term, to be honest. Like at this point, it's like the difference is so marginal and their production. If anything, Matt Olson's past him marginally.
Yeah, but you don't have to, if you just re-sign him, you don't have to trade all the prospects and whatnot.
That's true, but he's a lot younger. He's like 26 or something. Freeman's like 33.
Can't ask more balanced player than Conforto, more durable overall player. It's Conforto.
Disagree.
Nope.
Disagree.
Yeah, no. Mark Canha's better.
It's not a blowout at all.
Andrew. It's not a blowout, but they're
incredibly close.
Are you giving Mark Canha 8 years, $200 million? Like no. They're both almost like all-star level right fielders or left fielders.
Conforto in his like average good season, like 150 maybe. I don't know.
I mean, if you take them at their best, yeah, Conforto has the higher ceiling, but
and I'm not even talking about like his 2017. I'm talking about his 2019. Like that's a $150 million player, I'd say, over a long-term contract.
Yep.
I mean, but it's like a good. I know these players aren't really similar, but in terms of like production, they are. Like, would you give Teoscar Hernandez $200 million? No. I wouldn't. Like,
I think he's a good player, but no,
he is a good player.
$200 million, like throwing out a long term, this is such a big commitment, especially in baseball. This isn't the NFL where it's like, all right, well, you got a 5-year deal, but like 2 years or low cap hit, and the rest are void years and all this weirdo shit. Like MLB is just straightforward, super guaranteed. I mean, Cano wouldn't be on this team if you could move money around like that. So like 8-year, $200 million commitment is like. That's reserved for a special type of player. So that's reserved for the Lindors and who got a deal like Freddie Freeman, like guys like that who got deals like that this offseason.
Yeah, I agree. It's not. I don't even think it's really recency bias though. Like, I mean, I think that Canada's has more tools than Conforto. He's a
Yeah,
better base runner. He's a better defender. He's like almost the same hitting profile. Like production wise, maybe Conforto by a little bit, but
power definitely Conforto, but
Conforto doesn't even have that much power, like raw
no.
power. Even it's. I mean, he doesn't need to be here. I know
No.
that's really bad. No one on this roster besides like a couple guys needs to be here.
Yeah.
It's like you got Lindor, you got DeGrom, you got Scherzer. I would even say McGill.
I'd say Alonso probably.
Alonso, yeah.
There are many.
Like those
There
are
are
the guys
many better first basemen.
Yeah, but Alonso's like top 6.
Marte, I think, is up there.
No.
He's not. He's not DeGrom. He's better. He's a better player than Tyler McGill, though.
Who?
Starting Marte
No.
at his position, yes. And I can't stand having him in right field.
That's because there's more starting pitchers and right fielders.
What
like,
do you consider a right fielder?
I would take Tyler McGill over Starling Marte to be on my baseball team. Like that's not even a question for me.
Yeah, I like McGill, but
I wasn't
Marte's
even that high on. I wasn't even that high on him before the year. Like,
oh yeah, you were. I remember last year. Oh man.
Like I mean, like Starling Marte, I don't see how he's going to continue to be producing at the level he has been in the past. I just don't see it, and we're seeing it right in front of our eyes, in my opinion. Like I know he's had some clutch hits. I know he's had some cool base running thing. He's not this special like player that you covet. Like we're acting like he's a solid player. He's a fine hitter. He's an amazing base runner. He's a fine defender. He's not a guy you go out and spend $80 million on at age 33. That's just my opinion. And
so he's for you what I think of a Michael Conforto, basically.
I think I would have much rather brought back Conforto. I know he's hurt, but
yeah.
I mean, certainly he's just
dude. It's not just Michael Conforto. It's just move on from the past. In my opinion,
I agree. We don't even need
if
him.
Conforto's this big culture guy, like what did Boris call him, like the captain of the team and whatnot? Like, all right, this team's done nothing. Everyone, the culture and the attitude of the team is everyone's best friends, and we get hurt, and maybe next year.
Yeah, I mean the thing. Yeah, someone in the comments just said like the Phillies should have. I know Conforto's hurt, so like obviously the medicals, they saw it when the lockout was over, so you can't really judge them. Conforto would have been a much better fit for the Phillies than Castellanos, like a much better fit.
No, I think it's not Cost. I think you can't have both Castellanos and Schwarber.
Oh, I know
either. So let's say you put Conforto and like a real outfielder and a Schwarber, or a real outfielder and a Castellanos. But I don't think you can do both. Unless you're playing Schwarber at first base, but you have Rhys Hoskins.
That's the thing. They got two of the like probably 5 worst defenders in the sport, and just
yeah, I mean it's bad. No, Alec Boehm.
Alec Boehm's actually like I think his offense could be actually pretty good.
No, he's a decent. I mean, he had a good rookie year. It's just he's not a third baseman.
He was broken last year. I think he's been really good so far, but like
I mean, yeah, he's a high regarded prospect. So I mean, there's something there, obviously.
He can make a pretty good DH at a ceiling. But
yeah, or a first baseman.
I hope he's not
a third baseman.
I hope he's terrible,
yeah,
of course, like we all do. But I mean, but like back on the topic of like Mcgill, like this is like I know we're all like on the recency hype train, but like he really does like remind me of like Zach Wheeler, like of what he kind of is right now. Like I would
Mets Zach Wheeler or Philly Zach Wheeler.
I see his Philly Zach Wheeler ceiling 1000%. I can see that. That's such a high ceiling that you have to get to. Like
what I love about Mcgill is like his demeanor. Like he doesn't get shooken up by it. Like nothing seems like too big of a moment for him, which is like important. Like mentality. I mean, we've seen with Edwin Diaz. Like there's times where he just looks mentally rattled, and no one's denying how
that was more 2019
player he is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. I mean, but like, yeah, Diaz's first year as a Met versus Mcgill first year as a Met. I mean, it's night and day
true.
from a
The thing
pure
about Diaz,
mentality
though,
standpoint.
what like obviously he's in a contract year. Here's the thing: if I'm the Mets, I am gonna try to
he's a
lock him
free
up.
agent next year.
Yeah, this is his contract year. So if I'm the
Oh,
Mets,
bye.
I'm either gonna try to fleece him to an extension because someone's gonna give him like a completely unreasonable reliever deal. So if the Mets do not extend him by the All-Star break, I think he's gone. So, and I would love to do that.
Hell yeah.
I think it's his.
I mean, yeah, if I lowball him, then that's fine. But I'm not giving him like
would you give him
a 5-year deal or?
Would you give him 440 or 448?
No, absolutely not. No.
I would probably do 440, but 48 is probably what it would take. I don't know if I do that, but like he's looked incredible this year. And I think he's gonna.
Out of 2 games ago,
he hung one pitch. That doesn't mean he's doesn't.
You gotta admit though, the sky pointing gotta end.
I don't really care, to be honest. It kind of just helps our narratives that he, because like because both home runs he gave up this year weren't barrels. So him pointing up is like, look, even he knows it's not a barrel. You know what I mean? Like even he knows it's just a pop.
That's your narrative, not mine.
I know, but like the nerd narratives, like, look, it wasn't
that does not apply to me.
I know, but I think what I expect from Diaz this year is a full version of 2020. So he's going to strike out like 45% of the batters, but like walk like a lot too. And like, but like he'll like be like super elite. And then he's just going to get like a completely like overpay by some other team. And like, did you see the deal that Iglesias from the Angels got?
Yeah. What did he get again?
Got like 17 million AAV or something.
Let's not do that.
Let me look it up. I mean, it's like just.
I know he got a qualifying offer, which is already pretty 18
million. He got an
for
$18 million, $58 million for 4 years. What?
Yeah, that's I'm not. Reliever doesn't get more than a 3.
They backloaded it. They backloaded it. So 16 million the last 3 years for a relief pitcher. And he's 32.
Yeah, let's not do that. I mean,
we're not going to
look at some of the better relievers in the league have been on like multiple teams. I mean,
that's why you
roll this Chapman.
That's why I think
teams.
I mean, that's why I think they should just either extend him or let him walk, because if someone like GMs know that he's like an amazing reliever. They're not going to be fooled by a season 3 years ago. I know that for a fact. Like someone.
That's why I'm not comfortable giving him like a 4-year deal when he's going to have that one clunker. Every reliever does for the most part.
Well, no,
unless you're Josh Hader.
I don't think he will. I think he's because he's 27 or something like that. So like that 2019, you will probably never see a reliever of his caliber have a season like that ever again. I mean, that was just like the most.
I'm just comfortable letting him go for the sake that he's plays the most replaceable position, arguably.
I know.
Look how many good veteran relievers are the Jake Diekmans, the Drew Pomerans of the world who don't get paid anything, and like you can just
get him for 1 year.
Couldn't have said it better. Let Diaz walk. He blows every game.
He's a very the thing is like you don't replace his talent, but you can replace like him with like 2 relievers of what he would bring, I'd say. Or like you can find guys
by committee if they want to be a super analytics team.
You don't need a closer. The closer is a stupid thing. It never has made sense.
Edwin Diaz insists that he can only be a closer. Because if it's not a safe situation, then here come the nerds with the excuses.
That's the stupidest narrative I've ever heard in my life. That was the stupidest narrative ever. That non-save situation thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I get told. It's like, hey, don't.
I'm fine with letting him walk. If he gets like even if like I'd even like.
Are you the type to get mad at like so I talked about earlier, like people complain about a team not re-signing a guy when it's not the NFL. Like there's no franchise tag. There's no like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, would you blame the Mets if Diaz walked or something? And
no,
Mets again.
No.
We let Javi Baez go. What a big loss. He played 3 months for us.
Baez leaving, I was Like at that deal, I could not care less that he left.
Yeah, no,
At that deal.
and people like I'm glad Met fans aren't like. Fortunately, McNeil's playing well, so it's not like, oh, look what Baez.
McNeil
He's having a good year in Detroit. Good for him, man.
McNeil at second base and Baez at second base. McNeil's a better player if he's at second base than Baez. I guarantee you that if they're both playing second base. It didn't make sense to bring him back at that deal to play not even play his position. That would
No, you're paying the shortstop to play out of position. You're playing him. Well, you're paying him as a shortstop, which is they get more money. So
like McNeil's been better than what I expected so far, to be quite honest. So
you're a McNeil truther coming in.
I am a McNeil truther, but like his highest WRC plus season was 2019 at 144. He's at 143 right now. And like offense is down, so that number is maybe a tiny bit misleading, but like he's been better than his 2020 season for sure.
Which who's been a free agent this year? That apparently that dictates how the ball is and whatnot.
I mean, he's
Big Pete. Do you know who the big free agents are this upcoming year? Who are they?
Trey Turner's one. Let me check. I do know Trey Turner is one.
They're probably gonna extend him. They would be stupid to let Seager go and then not extend Turner.
Yeah, that'd be madness.
Yeah.
Correa is gonna opt out, of course.
100%. Yeah.
I wonder what Bauer will do actually, because he got like the really front loaded deal, but like.
So was it? I thought it was a 3-year deal with an opt out every.
It was a 3-year deal with a front loaded opt out. No, the opt out in year 3, so he makes 40 and 43 in the first 2,
and then he has one more year. He's not going to opt out after a year of not playing.
I wonder because like who's going to pay him more than like what he's going to get on that 3rd year?
Dude, he's going to get like $15 million a year, maybe.
Oh, Carlos Rodon will opt out. Jacob deGrom's opting out, but he's coming back.
Hopefully,
Chris Sale has
that's one player I'll get mad at them for not re-signing.
Yeah, he's not going.
I'll say that, but I don't think he's going anywhere.
I mean, it's kind of a weak class. I mean, Kershaw will probably retire.
Yeah, he's not going. He's not leaving the Dodgers.
Oh, Evaldi, that'll be huge. I would
Bassett
bring him in. Bassett. I would.
Carrasco's a free agent.
Definitely go for Evaldi.
That would be clutch.
Syndergaard's pitching. Syndergaard's velo's down, but like he's pitching. Like I never really understood the narrative that he was just a thrower because like Syndergaard's been an elite contact manager his whole career.
I mean, good for him for playing. People got mad at him for re-signing, or for not re-signing. Yeah, I mean, again, he got a great offer from a team. And the team didn't have a GM and didn't have a manager at the time. And this is like the most important year of his career. Yeah. So he literally said it in press conference himself. But
I completely agree. And like they were set and ready to have a 6-man rotation. Like that makes perfect sense for him.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't see why he would have re-signed with us.
He had a better opportunity for his career with the. Who knows? Maybe he'll be back next year. We'll see.
I mean, I would love that if I do want to see his velo get back because. I mean, I do think he is a good pitcher without it, but that was his game. Yeah, that was the narrative that he couldn't pitch without velocity. I wasn't.
I mean, it's not that he can't do it. That's just his game, though. Like
he hasn't given up a single barrel. He hasn't given up a single barrel this year. That's very impressive.
Like I said, good. I love Noah, so I'm rooting for him. But I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for calling in, man. I'm gonna hit the chat and probably call it a stream. Peace, dude.
All right, Steve, man.
All right, shout out for him calling in. Like good old times. We got quite a bit in the chat to hit, so let's get it going. I think we went over this. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't have like I said, if you have Conforto so who's their outfielder right now? It's Harper with Castellanos, and I'm guessing Schwarber DHs. So who's their like other corner outfielder? Let's check Phillies roster. Big brotherly love banter. Actually, I'll become a Philly show. Who is it? Or let me go to their depth chart. I might see who. Transition. So Reese Hoskins at first, Segura second, Bryson Stott at third. Oh, is Bohm the DH? Oh wait, no, it's left field is Schwarber, center. Oh, Matt Vierling. Well, I don't know if they might platoon. Like I don't. I'm guessing he's not the everyday starter. Okay, so it's either Schwarber. Yeah, I mean the defense is terrible either way you look at it. So, I mean, if you would have kept brought Conforto in and then put uh Castellanos at DH, then yeah, maybe. If you assuming health, obviously not anymore. Boris called them the King Queens, and DeGrom exists, dumbass. Joe Girardi has to be on the hot seat. I mean, yeah, they've been going all in, and they were like a win now team when they hired him. So, yeah, I mean, he's got to make. He probably has a playoff mandate on him this year. You know, there's always weird circumstances with like I always hate saying, "Oh, playoff mandate this," stuff like that. Just because it's given the circumstance, but the problem is Brody traded Diaz as if he was Mariano D. Yeah, he's a good to great MLB closer. He's not with elite potential, I'd say. He's got nice stuff, but Diaz isn't Rivera. He's better. Carrasco is a team option for 2023. If you're still watching, do you know how much that option is? So I'm guessing they would consider that. DeGrom is generation's Tom Seaver. I can't let him. Yeah, they're gonna pay him so much. He's probably gonna get. I know his health might change it, but like 43 million a year. I mean, he might make more than Max. Obviously Max doesn't have the injury problems in recent years, which obviously it sucks. But with DeGrom, just having a great player like that, it's like the Mets luck, same old Mets, all that good stuff. For his luck. So yeah. So if anyone has any more questions in the chat, let me know. Any jet related or NFL stuff, if you guys want me to talk about that, we can do that. We can do a mock draft. Oh yeah, we're getting fancy around here. I guess I'll give brief draft thoughts unless there's any more baseball stuff anyone wants to talk about. So Jets pick. I got my green on. It's perfect. Jets pick 4 and 10. I'm saying trade for Deebo Samuel, which looks like a good possibility. That's your number one receiver. So you got more Debo and Davis. And I think Debo would want to come here because if he has issues taking jet sweeps and doing like the running back stuff, then boom, Elijah Moore can do that stuff too. I wouldn't put him in the backfield as much as like a power runner, but I mean, you got Barrios too as like a backup gadget guy. So you have other gadget guys on this team. So if Debo wants to be just that number one receiver, then it's a perfect fit for him. Same offense, obviously too. If you give up 10, like I'm totally fine with that. Like we're talking about taking a receiver at 10. You pray that guy could be Deebo Samuel. If you could trade both of your seconds for Deebo, that would be clutch though, because you could take, let's say, Sauce Gardner at 4 and then Karlaftis at 10. Yeah, George Karlaftis, like get an edge there. I mean, you need to come away with an edge rusher. So I'd probably go Thibodeau 4 if he's there. I think it's going to be Hutchinson, Walker, Gardner going to be the first 3 picks. So I think Thibodeau's the obvious pick. I don't want an offensive lineman. People freaking out about Becton not showing up to voluntary workouts is stupid. But yeah, if you don't trade for Debo, probably Drake London is my receiver. I like Jameson Williams too, just if you can get him back healthy. But yeah, it really depends on what you're going to trade for Debo. 10 or 2 twos. I think, I saw one person say you trade 10 and Elijah Moore. Absolutely not. You're not doing that with a guy with one more year and how highly this team thinks of Elijah Moore. I don't think that's happening. But yeah, you still need another safety because my goodness, Ashton Davis is terrible. You need another linebacker. Quincy Williams is not that good. I mean, he's fun because he runs around, hits hard, misses a billion tackles, sucks in coverage, not a starter. Good special teams, rotational guy, fine. Not really a starter. A guy like Trey McBride, like if you want to get another tight end here, that's intriguing because tight ends usually take forever to develop. And you don't know how long CJ or Conklin are going to be with the Jets for. So that's always an interesting topic. But it's like this year, it's really about like you have your big needs in the first round, but fortunately, edge is like the strength of this draft. Corner's not a big need because you have Bryce Hall, you have DJ Reed, but if Sauce Gardner is there, you're not going to pass on a possibly elite shutdown corner because you have Bryce Hall, who's a decent number 2. But yeah, our biggest needs are just edge, wide receiver, which is luckily that's kind of the 2 biggest strengths of the first round, at least relative to where we're picking with our picks. But yeah, we need another linebacker, another safety, probably another running back. Really, just BPA draft. Like once you have your pretty big needs taken care of, like just take the best player available. Really, guess we're going back to baseball mode because we got another phone call. Mets talk with Hayden. How we doing, man?
What's going on, brother? Long time no.
Hey,
haven't
man.
done one of these in a while.
Yeah, I feel like Sunday night hangs. I think it's a good. I mean, most people are free. Like people are down to chill on YouTube. So I'll try to do these more, man. They're fun. Just kind of get on, shoot the shit, just talk out of my ass, pretty much. Nothing really prepared or anything. So yeah. And anything specific you want to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love that the Mets were able to take this series. Taking 2 out of 3 is huge.
Won every series this year.
I hope so.
No, we have. I mean, so far we've won every series so far,
yep.
which is
First
freaking huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was an interesting series. I mean, and I've said it in the past, good teams are supposed to beat up on the bad teams. That's how it's supposed to work. Don't get me wrong. We're going to see the Diamondbacks and, the Pirates and whoever, beat the Dodgers, beat the Blue Jays, whatever, that's going to happen. I will say maybe this series was a little bit of a disappointment. Yeah, we took 2 out of 3, which is awesome. Keep in mind, we literally came close to blowing it on Friday at 1:00, which
heart attack.
Yeah, let's not have any more 9:40 games. Try and make them earlier, but yeah, I mean, I will say that the pitching really held down. Seth Lugo coming into clutch, obviously the first game, and then today, obviously. I mean, one swing of the bat could have easily tied things up. So very big outing there. David Peterson, Tyler McGill looked great. The bats are something. I mean, Lindor was a little bit more quiet this series compared to his last series, but Lindor's still getting on in the action. I really like what I'm seeing Lindor. He's looking more patient during his at-bats, more fundamental hitting out of him. Like what I'm seeing out of Lindor. Marte's looking aggressive on the base paths. There were a lot of disappointment in terms of batters this series. Cano looked a little interesting. There were a lot of times where he had like 3-0 counts and, he'd foul like 20 balls off and then just take strike 3 down the middle or swing at strike 3. He was a little bit of a disappointment. Escobar was a little quiet. Alonso was looking like 2020 first-grade hitter. I mean, good. JD Davis really did need that today. I will say that JD needed that. He needed to go 2 for 3. And I think that's going to bring into question is the future of that DH role. And I think you and I are easily going to agree. You got to stop with Cano.
Yep.
Cano's got it.
I was going to say,
Cano,
you can't do Robinson Cano.
You can't have Cano.
I honestly think he's. I mean, I remember on the Mets Weekly prediction episode, we said Mets could be gone by the end of the year, and I thought I was being bold with Robinson Cano. At this rate, like, I know they talk about all this good about a clubhouse guy leader. He's not a leader. He's a cheater. I mean, is that showing leading is all about showing good example and whatnot. And a guy getting a shit ton of playing time for playing like shit, and he plays like he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't run out. And I know he's old, but he does not run hard at all. It's just lazy ground up, or pulling the ball at second base every time. This comment says he's a clown. Like, he sucks. Fuck him. Like, he should be gone. I mean, like, you don't reward guys' mediocrity just because you're getting paid a shit ton of money because someone else paid for you and someone was stupid enough to trade for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing when you look at Cano is, like you said, his bats look so effortless. He'll stand up there and
oh, here we go.
Hit the bat. I'm not a lefty, and he'll just be like,
yeah.
He'll literally just stand there and do that. His at bats look effortless.
In the bad way.
They look effortless. You just can't. I don't know. He just looks like he's not interested. I mean, at second base defensively, I guess he's okay. Care less. But ground ball, he has no power. I mean, we've been seeing so many balls hit, popped up to the first base side and foul line. His power's gone. He has no raw power.
I know. Don't give me all he has a home run or all this shit. Like, no.
I can care less about that. I mean, do it when it matters. Either you're going to have to give. I mean, you got to stop playing Cano. the thing that really pisses me off about Showalter, and I mean, I've said it a million times in the chat, you got to stop playing Guillorme. You got to stop playing Robinson Cano this much. They are ninth inning defensive guys. Oh, my goodness, he went 2 for 4 today or 2 for 3. Yeah, against the Diamondbacks. So great. Do it when, I would love
in
to
Arizona, too.
Batter box when it's a 2-2 game and extras. I'd love to see that. I
mean, this bench overall is terrible.
That's the issue. We downgraded this bench. We went from having, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say Kevin Pillar was the best, bench piece, but he was clutch. I will say that. Jonathan VR, phenomenal bench piece. So what? This? I mean, I think it would have been nice to sign a guy like VR back. Pillar's still a free. No, he's with the Dodgers, I think.
He's a minor. I mean, I wouldn't bring Pillar. I'm going to disagree with you on. Maybe I was so tired of seeing him because they played him so much because all the injuries and whatnot. Yeah. VR, I would like to see back. I don't know if he got whenever you talk about bench guys and letting them go and whatnot, you kind of need to see whether or not they're getting a start. They're going to go for someone with more of an opportunity to play. Right. So obviously Chicago, at least, is in the infield. But I think VR is better than, I don't know how he's doing this year, but based on last year, I think he's better than Guillorme. So if that's your backup infield, Guillorme is your first infielder off the bench. What's his name? Janikowski is your first outfielder off the bench. No, you can do better than that.
Absolutely.
Cano swings, strike 3 to ball down. He swings that. He had that at bat with I don't know if it was him, but just took some of the laziest swings over at at a curveball or something. He just, again, plays like he doesn't care.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to come on here and bash, the team. We're in for 12-5, 11, something like that. Yeah. That's phenomenal. But you got to keep in mind, some of these games were close, and if you want to remain in first place and remain over 500, you got to. I don't care if you want to keep. It's April. We want to keep everyone healthy. That's great. If you want to start off that because of the shortened spring training, okay, I'll give them that. You had a shortened spring training, so you want to let some of these Guillorme, your Jankowski type of guys get more reps. Okay, I'm not gonna be all anal about that. But come in May and June, I don't want to see these guys on the field, more than two games.
I'm with you. I'm with you with that. I'm cool with them doing it early on if you have a good lead or something like that. But if these guys are getting as much, Janikowski started plenty of games so far. And your fourth outfielder is supposed to play enough, and he's not a fourth. I mean, I've been pleasantly surprised with him. Don't get me wrong; I've been satisfied, even more than that. But he's not. He's a good fifth outfielder. I mean, you're gonna most usually need 2 backups in the outfield. I mean, McNeil, I guess, is your fourth outfielder, and then you move Cano to second base. But that's just makes your infield weaker too. So I think I know it's so early to talk trade deadline, but it's always fun to talk about that. I think your big needs, you get another bullpen arm and you get another bat in this lineup. Just kind of any position, a DH guy, either whether he's an outfielder or an infielder who's going to cycle in at DH. Because I don't want just an only DH guy. Now, if it's a rental DH guy, then that's cool. But growing up, I was a huge Cano fan. Same here. Never thought. I lived in New York when he was in his prime, and all I heard was, I was young, but I was surrounded by nothing but Yankee fans. Oh, Robinson Cano, I mean, I wasn't much of a baseball fan. I knew who Robinson Cano was back then. So I liked him when, I wasn't as big of a fan when he was traded. So I always knew Cano, as I was a big Mets fan, wasn't as much of a all around baseball fan, where I knew all the players on the other teams and whatnot. So I thought, oh, Robinson Cano, great pickup, yada yada. And then since then, it's been a disaster.
Yeah, it has. And I just, right now, those are just, I guess some of the few things you could rant off about with this.
It's constructive criticism, man. I mean, we're satisfied with the season so far, but there's some issues. We're going to talk about them.
Yeah, I just think really it comes down to Cano and giving the bench guys more playing time. I think those are really the 2 big things. Bullpen's been holding down the fort. So, don't get me wrong, compared to Lee, if you're a White Sox fan, talk about Liam Hendrick. That dude blew up another game today. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to, blow up on Diaz in this Mets bullpen yet. If we start seeing more games where, Diaz is coming in and his sliders all over the place and, he's throwing all over, then we're going to have an issue with the bullpen. But as of right now, see how things go. I mean, you got another big series against the Cardinals, a team that defensively is going to be phenomenal. So whether it's trying to beat the shift or put the ball in play down the line, you're going to have some issues with that. So
They've
like I
also
said,
had probably maybe the best hitter in the league so far, who I get
Arenado,
who I get told is average and is overrated, but that's just me.
yeah, Arenado has been coming off a good
He's
start.
been phenomenal. Yeah, he's been real good. So yeah, stopping him. I mean, I know the rest. I looked at some of their stats. I know the rest of the team's been struggling, at least offensively. Or do they have a over 500 record? Do you know? I guess I
Oh
could check.
yeah.
Okay, so they're having a decent year. I mean, they who do you know who? Let me check the pitching matchups because they have a few.
I mean, I know that they have Jordan. Yeah, they're in first. They're in first place if the Brewers don't win tonight.
Okay.
Then they're playing against the Phillies now. The Brewers. Right. I mean, you have Jordan Hicks. I know they were going to put him in a bullpen role. He's there. Jack Flattery.
He's hurt right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not on.
Jordan Hicks is starting on Tuesday. Oh, is he like a real starter or is he just an opener?
He's like a bullpen prospect, and yeah.
I know he throws gas. I know that
He does.
throws crazy hard. Yeah.
Remember
He's probably gonna go like 2 innings though, like a Trevor Williams type player.
If you remember the Guillorme at bat in spring training, that was the pitcher.
Oh my god. Yep. Yeah. It's so classic Will Pond to get a star player's 10 years. Dude, remember the 2018 season? We had like Jose Bautista. We signed him and Jose Reyes like during the year. Like that's what when people complain about like Cohen not spending, like people don't remember, like that was the Mets years ago, like so recently, is like signing these passer like mid-season and starting them the next day. Like who was on the team? Jose Bautista, Jose Reyes, Jay Bruce, Adrian Gonzalez, like the amount of pass Asdrubal Cabrera, I think was on that team. He got traded.
Cabrera was interesting though. I mean, like imagine the Mets had these guys in their prime. I mean, it would be a phenomenal.
Right. But like the amount of old and like washed up players we had on the team just because they didn't cost anything is like, oh my god. Todd Frazier, we had like
towards the end of, I guess, the Wilpon reign, you had young starting pitching and a veteran offensive core. I mean, it's you had a young, rotation of DeGrom, of Syndergaard, of Matz, of Wheeler. You had that veteran piece of Bartolo Colon. It got the job done, I guess. I mean, you went to places in 2015 and 2016, and I guess when it comes to that is those guys were able to heat up at the right time. I mean, look at the Braves this past World Series. Who would have thought that Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson, and who's the other guy?
Jorge Soler.
Jorge Soler would be the main three pieces to help them. I mean, yeah, Freeman helped.
Duval,
Duval helped.
Albies, Riley.
Austin Riley. Yeah, those guys help. But those three core guys were really is what kind of made them
the three acquisitions. Yeah, they got 4 outfielders. Like for anyone who always says like I always say this, you need 4 outfielders to win in the MLB, and they literally acquired 4 outfielders at the trade deadline because Duval too was with Miami earlier that year and won the World Series. So it's like when people like coming this year was going to be the fourth outfielder, it's like, oh well, you got Nick Plummer, you got Khalil Lee, and all these guys. Like, no, get someone proven, man. You need fourth, and we're paying. I mean, Travis Janikowski's been okay, but like, is he a good 4th outfielder? I guess. I mean, people forget. Like, I remember the Khalil Lee hype was getting out of control. It's like, does anyone remember what this guy was doing when he was up? I know he's a prospect in AAA, and I still like him as like maybe a long-term depth guy, but like a backup. But like as a starter, no. I mean, he could prove me wrong, but like with the amount of prospects we see just absolutely bust when they make it to the major leagues, like I'm never comfortable without having a plan B personally, like having just a solid veteran that can play in case the prospect doesn't necessarily work out. Like the Mets are past the years where they're going to be rebuilding. Like we're going to always have the money to be able to spend. And as long as you have your core, you're going to, you're not going to have to rebuild and whatnot. As long as you can draft well, which that should be interesting to see because we have 2 picks. Hopefully we can sign one of them this year. Jesus. Sign sign international guys. Well, then, you don't have to really rebuild. You can just kind of like, we have a pretty old team, but we have, youth in the pipeline and, we have building blocks like Alonso and Lindor. So.
Yeah, I think that's all you need. I mean, you have that core right now.
Yeah.
The offensive core in Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo,
Nimmo,
Pete
I forgot about him. Gotta
Jeff
get him signed.
Hill.
Nimmo.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil. I want to say for people that hated on McNeil. Yeah, I knew that you just needed a year to just to get
Yeah,
it.
I was like kind of half and half just because I recognize that McNeil doesn't necessarily have like the highest ceiling of in the world. But he's a good player, and like the amount of it's Lindor and him, and they hate each other. It's
That was
it's like,
border.
dude, have anyone? This isn't freaking Jets with Geno Smith and IKN and Pauly when he broke his jaw in the locker room. Like guys getting arguments, and I mean the Bryce Harper and that dude got in the fight. Like team that happens, man. It's just like
Oh, yeah,
it's holding each other accountable. Not so that's stupid. I mean, Nick Neal, one person whose name rhymes with Marson. It's over with. Look at him. He's lost. He's mental, all that shit. And like he's a good player, man. I mean, like at second base, he might be an all-star just because the position sucks, but he's probably a top 5 second baseman in the league.
As of right now, yeah. I mean, Jonathan India is not really doing a whole lot. I mean, the only guys that I guess you can make a case for in the NL is Albies and Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm has been phenomenal these last couple of games.
He played mainly second base.
Oh, yeah, he's the second baseman.
Yep.
Last year he put a little short mixed in. I met him last year. Cool. I got the autograph from him. Cool guy. But yeah, I mean, like I said, for this just Mets core, I mean, I think you definitely have. I forgot what the topic was exactly, but I mean, you have another nice offensive core of Lindor, Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil, who I think all those guys not named Lindor will get extensions. Probably this offseason. I mean, I'd imagine Nimmo and Alonso will get one this offseason, I hope. And maybe McNeil probably next year. We'll see with McNeil how he can go ahead. And then obviously, that pitching depth. And I mean, you have the luxuries of the farm. I mean, you have Beatty, you have Alvarez. I mean, listen, they're prospects. So, AAA, A-ball is completely different than the major league level. I mean, listen, I think it's interesting to analyze prospects, but when they come to the major league level, can you analyze them the same?
Exactly. Yeah, like I said, and even when they're prospects, the amount of guys who've just like Mackenzie Gore, I know pretty sure he's doing well for the Padres right now, but like he was ranked as I think the best starting pitching prospect, and then was like out of the top 100 the next year. So like prospects have these falls and rises, and like you can't be too reliant. I mean, I know people are freaking out Vientos is having a rough year and whatnot. I don't know if I haven't really given up on him. It's either I'm waiting for him to come up, and either he's good or he's not at the major league level. That's all I really care about. But like it's cool to have like some good prospects at positions that we have. I mean, catcher I think as a whole right now because McCann is terrible. But I mean, Escobar is a good player at third base, but luckily he's not such a long commitment where Brett Beatty has a place to play if he is this great player that he's not. I mean, people are either hyping him up or he's proving it at the minor league level, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Beatty, like I said, I mean, that's why you got Escobar, short-term deals so you don't block Beatty. I mean, like I said, I mean, it looks good ahead for, the farm, I guess. I mean, obviously, we signed McCann, that short-term deal, just to kind of put someone there before Alvarez comes up. I mean, if you sign Real Muto, I mean, it probably would have been for more than, 3-4 years. And then could that have affected Alvarez's time? Would that have been, would we have been seeing people say, what do you do with Alvarez? It would have.
I think when a player like JT Realmuto is arguably, if not the best, the second best catcher in baseball available, you sign him. You don't not sign him because you have a guy Alvarez is insanely young. Like when Realmuto's free agent, he was projected to have be up in 4 years afterwards. Like that's the thing with McCann. If McCann worked out, it'd be 4 years to him, and then you transition him to Alvarez. But like when a guy's that far away, like you cannot, like Jason Dominguez, the Martian, the next big thing for the Yankees, and his stock has fallen too. So it's like, especially with prospects that far away, you can't put that much stock into it. So like, if the decision was sign JT Real Muto, then either also you can find Alvarez a new position maybe. But you know,
Yeah, I mean,
what's up, Matthew? What to say? Like they say, it's hard to get to the big leagues. It's hard to stay. Exactly. How many? Exactly. I say this every time. How many? Even like, there's plenty of prospects that bust when they're in the minors or something. But like, even guys who come before this year, Gavin Lux was doing nothing. I mean, there's plenty of prospects that just like highly ranked prospects that do nothing at the major league level at first. So, which in Phillies Brewers, I am not, but it's probably be a good game.
Yeah, it's good. I'm watching a little bit on my computer now, but yeah, I mean, the farm is looking good. I will say that. I mean, it definitely, I'm not gonna say we're, an elite top tier farm system like, the Marlins, the Rays, the Mariners. I'm not Pirates. I'm not gonna say that. I think we're so. I mean, I think we're better than like the White Sox, Nationals, Phillies farm, 100%. Like I said, we'll see. I mean, we'll be getting like 4 or 5 picks. I mean, in the first like 2-3 rounds.
I don't think we're getting the pick now for Conforto though, because he's not going to sign. So I think you get that next year or something like that.
And we'll start,
it wasn't going to be like insanely high anyways. So yeah, you have the comp pick from Rocker, and then our pick based on last year's rank standing. So we get I think we get 11 again, and I don't really know. I don't really care that much about MLB draft as long as you don't come out and be like, oh, can't take this guy, we already have a guy at that position. I can't stand that take, dude. It's like, we got Beatty, can't take a third baseman, like guys can't switch positions, or guys don't pan out. Like it's a prospect, it's a huge projection,
Yeah, and I mean, I think the thing with the MLB draft compared to other sports, I mean, I know the NFL draft as well, like 2 days or so.
First day, yep, so excited.
Those guys get called. There is no call-ups. They play next year.
Yep.
They well, not even next year. They play coming August. I mean, MLB, I mean, they can get anywhere for a year and a half to what, 5-6 years.
Yep.
So that's really the big difference is, you're going to hear their name, but you're not going to see them with the team itself for a while. The NFL is different. I mean, you guys drafted Zach Wilson, and you got him what? Literally the, incoming
opening day starter. Yep.
So little stuff like that,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't say it better. Like the MLB draft and just prospects in general it's a big shit show, and the hit rate is not what you think. We get a pick from. That's right. We do get a pick from Angels. Why didn't we end up giving Baez a qualifying? You have what, 2 QOs you can give out, or maybe there's a rule if like the guys have been on your team long enough. I'm not entirely sure on that.
Did I throw a contract at Baez?
They must have offered him something, but obviously they weren't going to give him that I think 6th year, which I'm totally fine with.
I don't even remember half of this with the lockout.
Yeah, no. Yeah, good point. I mean,
the lockout happened, and then everything just
we did most of our moves at the beginning, so it was nice. But I mean, yeah, Scherzer, Marte, Canna, Escobar.
Yeah, everything before the lockout is pretty much out of my head.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it seemed the market after the lockout ended was fun though, just because it was so many moves every day, and it was just like pretty interesting. It's like almost like the NFL, where like most guys all sign on the first like 3 days of free agency.
Yeah, that's how it was. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. I'm gonna let you go, but thanks for calling in, bro. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, and let's go Mets. Let's win tomorrow.
Let's go Mets, dude. LFGM. Take it easy, man. Hit the chat real quick, then I'll call it. Couldn't give Baez a QO because I didn't know if there were like rules in place for qualifying offers and stuff like that. So yeah, that makes sense. Like probably, and I think how many qualifying offers can you give? Is there a limit on them, or I don't know. But I wish I was more knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. But what else we got? If there's any last minute things in the chat, drop it. If not, I'm gonna get off this thing. This was a whole lot of fun. I hope I can do more stuff like this. Just kind of hit the chat, do some call-ins and whatnot. If we get more people and like more chat, I'll probably shorten up the calls a bit. I know they went on pretty long, but hey man, it's Sunday night, just chilling, talking baseball, talking football. If that's what you guys want to do, I'm cool with that. Shit, if you want to talk about like music or something, like hey, be my guest. This is like for you guys. And you guys are on the show. Just ask me questions and whatnot. Thank you, Liam. I appreciate that, bro. I'm gonna end it here. Appreciate you guys. Let's go Mets, 12-5 or something like that. Fake fan alert, I guess. Let's go Mets. Great year so far. Let's keep it up. Mets Weekly. I'm not gonna be on this week because the NFL draft, but I'll see you on Mets Weekly sometime. I'm guessing most of you guys are subscribed to our channel. If you're not, please do. But I will see